Hi everybody, it's Andy Phillips here, and welcome to our Meet the Host. This is our Thursday morning Meet the Host meeting. As you can see, I've got Nick Josling with me. Bristol Pin.
Morning. Hi Andy. Hello everyone.
How you doing?
Very well, thank you.
We just before we went live, we're just trying to put the world right. We got no answers really, so
Really?
no idea really. Nick, so host of Bristol Pin. We just want to get to know a little bit more about you and the Pin meeting and that sort of thing. Tell us a little bit about sort of why you got into property in the first place. What sort of drew you to property?
Yeah, well, I originally I wasn't a property person. I came from it. This was about 10 years ago, I suppose. Originally, for me, it was a pension plan, just to supplement the pension. But what I suppose a few things happened were that I also wanted a bit more independence. I was in the corporate life, and the company I was with had gone through about 3 restructures, and you could tell I'd survived all of them. It was okay, but you just knew that was the way it was going to go forever. So I got a bit fed up with that, sort of being beholden to other people, and I'd got to about 40, so call it a bit of a midlife crisis. I don't know. I just felt there was more to life. I think the other big thing for me was I went abroad. I chucked my job in, went abroad to South America with my then girlfriend, now wife, and we did all sorts of things, did amazing things. And one of the things I did, I became a football commentator in Argentina, bizarrely.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even remember that for a long time ago. But what that did was it gave me, I think, a sense of belief and confidence, and also there's a big wide world out there, and you can do all sorts of different things.
Sure.
So really, actually, even though I wanted to, there were financial reasons for property. Actually, it was kind of a mindset thing that thought I need to do something different, and I can do something different. So once I came back from South America, I really got cracking into property. That was 2008, 2009, which actually was a terrible time in some respects, but looking back on it, it was a fantastic time to be buying property. And of course, you don't realize that at the time. But I was on,
fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, brilliant. I remember I was on Simon's Mastermind at that time, 2009. And I remember him saying, this is one of the buying opportunities of a lifetime. And I thought, oh yeah, I bet he says this every year, but it wasn't. It was absolutely right. It was one of the best buying opportunities ever. And of course, he's saying that about now and the opportunities we have. So, it resonates with me because I know what a good opportunity it was then. And I'm sure there's opportunities that are going to be coming up again. So really, it was that was the driving force to get me into property, wanting independence. I'd always wanted my own business. I did a lot of research, a lot of reading, and I resonated with Simon. And when I got back, of course, I thought I could do it all on my own. I'd watched a few TV programs, read a couple of books, piled in. I used a company up in the Northeast, actually, a sourcing company, to start buying me things. They went bust, cost me 20, 30 grand, but it got me going. And I knew I'd found out that they were doing things in quite a clever way that I didn't understand. So I went off, got educated, did Mastermind, and really that's what got me going.
It's strange that I think we come from a sort of similar thing. I came at the corporate world and was fed up with it and wanted to do my own thing and didn't know what to do, and probably was a little bit of a way of using the skill sets that I already had. Communication, outgoing personality, all that sort of stuff, all the things that a business mindset and all that sort of stuff. So it's interesting that you came out of the corporate world and got into that. But there is something weird about the corporate landscape, I guess. It's where you feel very secure. You earn quite good wages in corporate business. You've got a ladder to climb. You know exactly where you want to go. Management and all the rest of it. So all these different peaks, but it does feel very hollow and empty. doesn't it? I mean, I don't know if you felt exactly the same as I did, but it just felt, what I was doing was completely and utterly pointless.
Yeah.
It didn't
Well, you
seem
feel like you're
to anything.
and also everything you're doing is, none of it seems to be for your benefit. Well, of course it is, because you get you get paid and you get some
paid
perks,
its wage, and
and you've got something to do every day. But
Yeah.
you feel, what really drove me to chuck it in was a pension statement, and thinking, God, is that it? Thinking there's got to be more, and also there's got to be more to life. And I think it's really important, whatever you do, you enjoy what you do. And I was okay doing what I was doing. But the problem was I was very safe and very comfortable, actually, as well. The nice salary, and because I didn't give up my job straight away. When I started investing in property, I was doing the two together.
Right.
And I reached a point after it was about 3 years in, and it was very nice because I had then all this income coming in from property, and I had a very safe, comfortable salary income coming in with pension and all the rest of it. So it's like I didn't want to lose. I didn't suddenly want to lose. It meant going down a step.
Yeah.
But I also knew to step up the property and really keep going. Something had to give.
So what's it like when you stopped the corporate job? What was that day like?
It was a little bit scary, actually. It was always a bit, oh my God, it's a risk, isn't it? When you're letting something go, all that security, all that paycheck every month, 28th of every, I could always still remember it. 28th of every month, that money used to come in. It was a nice feeling. Whatever, not quite whatever you did each month, but you would still get that coming in. Whereas suddenly you're going from getting started in property, you never, sometimes the cash flow never comes in as quickly as you want it. And there's always unforeseens, and everything seems to take longer than you expect.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, property is the best thing I ever did. And I think from a long-term, as a long-term game, and it is a long-term game, I think too many people come in thinking everything's going to happen in 6 months. It can do, and you can, do some amazing deals and flips, and you can do that. But the real wealth, I think, is long-term.
Yeah.
And you've got to allow for that. And I suppose I'm a little bit of a slow and steady sort of person. So, when I did Mastermind, I did everything. I did all the strategies of Mastermind, which I wouldn't recommend. But then I did better in my second year, actually, once I've sort of sorted myself out and I knew and had a focus. At that point, that was specifically housing benefit tenants and the whole social housing market. But once I had a focus, I got much clearer, and it made a difference. And then the income started coming in, and it carried on from there.
When you focused on that one strategy, you say you went to a few different strategies, and you looked at, you tried a few different things. Was it that strategy that just did it make you feel the best for you? Was that like a really good fit for you?
Yeah, definitely. Yes, it was, Andy. And I think that's a really good question, because I think everyone goes into property for, I would say, financial reasons. Everyone wants financial freedom. Everyone wants to increase their income, replace the pension, whatever it might be. But there's usually a financial leader towards it. However, I think it's like anything you do in life, you've got to enjoy it, and you've got to have a purpose from doing that. And I think you can in property, because there's so many different things you can do. But you're right, and doing social housing for me ticked two boxes. So one, commercially, it was a really good strategy. I started off doing things like this. It was called 2+2 strategy. We have two people in a house on different claims, and you get, basically, it's more profitable than if it was just on a normal rent. And then that led into housing benefit HMOs, and then that led into professional HMOs, and moved more away from the housing benefit market. But it ticks the box. It worked commercially, but also it ticked that box for me ethically, and providing housing for those that needed it. And it was tough. It was a lot of work, but actually I got a lot out of doing that. And I think that helped motivate me as well, because property can be really, can be really tough sometimes. Things, you know, don't always go to plan. And I think if you haven't got that reason for doing what you're doing, you know,
It's Simon's reason why, isn't it?
It's all about the reason why. I think you need a bigger reason why for you personally, whatever that might be. But you know, and for me, I had just during Mastermind, I had my first child, and we moved house. All of that stuff happened all at once. So that gave me a really big driver to do that. But I think then having what you're actually doing that is serving a purpose is really important and helps drive you on, really. So yeah, that's a really, really good point, I think. And I don't think it's all about the money, which seems odd, sounds really odd for a property investor to be saying that. You think, well, you know, property investors, it's always about the money. But I think I don't think it is. I think if you get into the right thing and you do something well and you do it ethically, there's a way everyone can benefit. Vendors can benefit, tenants can benefit, contractors can benefit, investors can benefit, and you can benefit. It can work for everyone, and I think when you get that, it's almost that perfect storm, and there's a feel-good factor about it for everyone. You can go around shafting people in life, or you can go and work with people and do things. And as you know, Andy, property is such a people industry, and I think that's what I love about it. Actually, I've met so many great people, so many entrepreneurial people, which is what I've really enjoyed about it. It's taken me out of that corporate lifestyle, brought me into a much more entrepreneurial environment. And the big thing, not only have I learned all the property strategies, I've done most of them, which I wouldn't recommend doing that. I had a great time doing them all, but it then leads to your own personal growth, self-development. And I never really did any of that sort of stuff before, but you know, I've been doing that constantly, and I will always be doing that. So it's been a massive, I'm still learning all the time. So it's been great.
It's sort of balance between, I think you could call it like an entrepreneurial lifestyle dichotomy, I guess. You know, we've got this concept of you've got to earn money, and to get where you want to go. You know, and specifically for you, it was pension, and it is for me as well. But it was always about not about just earning money and getting out of the rat race. It was always about how to build a pension that's going to be really good and get there as soon as possible. Basically, that was my idea, so I could do the things I love doing, playing music, writing, and all that sort of stuff. But you know, and when it's really strange when you hear people saying, I hear this a lot, it's not about the money. And that's the dichotomy, you know. It's not a dichotomy. It's the challenge that we all have. You know, we need to have a lifestyle that's enjoyable. You know, it's got to be, you know, life's got to be fun. You know, because we have one shot at this damn thing. You know, so we've got to enjoy what we do. And you know, if you find a niche that is really good and challenging for you, and you can earn some money out of it, which is basically what we're all looking for, I guess, because you get fulfillment, but you also get that end result that you've been looking for. I think and I think property is a really good vehicle for that. So what was the sort of maybe some of the challenges that you had to overcome once you settled on your strategy, the way you was going to earn money and, you know, run a business in life? What was the sort of challenges that you had to overcome in that?
Well, I had logistical challenges because at that time I was working full time, and I had to be a little bit flexible in some of the things I did. So I had to really be ruthless with my time, and I had to be a little bit. There were times I went off radar a little bit for my job as well. But what was bizarre, I actually got better at my job as I was managing a team of people. I got better at doing that because I had to be ruthless with my time. But I think the other challenges for me were I had conquering some of the fears I had. So I had fear of, you know, I was slightly risk averse and wanted to leave all that security. I realized I had to put myself out there to attract investors, to go and talk to agents, to do viewings, to find deals, to get contractors. And I was, I was actually very, very shy. When I was going to I used to go to pin meetings, and I would never put on my hand. I would never even do the 20-second slot.
Right.
And now I'm a pin host. It's a really strange, but I think I had to force myself to do that. And there were challenges of not. It's again that belief and thinking you don't know what you're doing. Thinking I'm converting a house. I'm creating an HMO. I'm dealing with all these housing benefit claims. I'm setting up a lettings business. That's not me. That's not what I meant to do. But you find you are doing it, and then you grow into it, and you have to just tackle that. And it's all about getting out of that comfort zone and stretching yourself, as everyone talks about. And it's true. It's absolutely true. So,
do you think there is a big factor in entrepreneurialism where you have to challenge your mindset? Is that a key thing that you've done over the time that you've been since you left your corporate job?
Yes, definitely. I think because you do things in a different way, you have to also, when you're running your business, you're effectively a CEO. So when you're doing a job, you're doing usually one part, one role. Now you've got to be involved in HR. You've got to be involved in sales, marketing. You've got to be in operations. You've got
15 hats on, basically.
You're doing everything,
And buck stops with you.
And no one is ever good at all of those things. And it's understanding what you're good at and what you're not. And I wasn't very good at that. I thought I could do everything. I thought I could be Superman. And then I got, found out that actually maybe I can get some help with my finances and bookkeepers. And actually my wife happens to be an ex, financial director. So there she goes. So I was very lucky with that. I hooked up with a business partner who's very creative, very good at ideas and throwing things and putting things in place, but needed some help maybe with the getting things through and getting things finished. So I became bizarrely more of the face of the business, I suppose, and coming into pin really helped. And obviously becoming a pin host has been fantastic and helped with that. So
why did you become a pin host? What was the sort of logic behind that? Because it's not easy. There's quite a bit of work to do, and you've got to get up front and talk.
Yeah, there is. There's quite a lot to it. The two things at the time were, first of all, I knew I wanted to get on in property. I love property. I wanted to progress in property. And the other thing at that time, I had a terrible fear of public speaking. At that point, I hadn't even done the 20-second slot at pin meeting. So I thought, what should I do? I didn't really want to do it. I'll be quite honest. I thought this would be brilliant for me. So I took up being Bristol pin host. That was 8 years ago. But since then, and that has worked really well on both counts. It's really helped my confidence, and I've met some amazing people through the pin meetings, and every single pin meeting, even after 8 years, I can safely say every pin meeting, I still learn something new from speakers, from someone there. So I'm still learning all the time. But what has happened over time is that I've loved seeing people come through. And over 8 years, I've seen so many different people and seen some of those then go on and benefit from some of the pin education, doing Mastermind or one-day courses or whatever element they've done, and really done really, really well. And so actually it's evolved a little bit. So the real kick I get out of pin now, I still love meeting people and learning, but it's seeing people come get involved and do well. And 2 years ago, I was lucky enough to be there was a local pin, there was a local Mastermind local, and I facilitated the Bristol one. And it was only a year, it did one off for a year. And I absolutely loved that. And working with a small group of people and seeing them progress. And, we're all of us in touch now. We've got our WhatsApp group and still seeing those guys progress and do different things. Fantastic. So that's really, what I really enjoy about pin. A lot of people talk about going in as becoming a pin host to give back. I'll be honest, that wasn't initially the reason I did it. It was to help conquer a fear and to help me get on in property. But since then, I absolutely love to help people, and that's been a big driver.
Yeah, so it's such a strange thing, because we whenever I talk to anybody who's been through like Mastermind, or been involved with Pin and Simon, it often comes out that it's not just about the education. Education you can pick up, but actually putting that education into a framework that actually makes sense is one thing. But it's also the camaraderie and the way that people do push each other and do help each other. And it is Pin meetings are very open, aren't they? I mean, there's a lot of really good people that go to Pin meetings that are very open with their information and their assistance.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's unlike any other industry I've known. And that's not always the case in property, actually. But if you're in the right environment, and that's why I was really surprised when I went to my very first Pin meeting. I kind of feared the worst when meeting with property investors. I thought, what am I doing here? But no, I was absolutely, I was blown away by the environment. And actually, I've introduced people, friends of mine and people I know, to come to Pin meetings.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have been blown away. They said they didn't. It was like a whole. Some of them said it's like a whole other world. It is like that, and I don't think you can succeed in anything in life completely on your own, and particularly in property. And through Pin meetings, that's where I met my business partner. I've met contractors, solicitor, my accountant is where I met at a Pin meeting. And not just that, but other investors who, if you get stuck, you go and talk to. How do you do this? Do you know anyone who can help with that? I wouldn't have done anywhere near what I've done without the help of other people. There's no question of that.
Yeah, and then one of the things that I want to sort of try and get over to people who are within Pin community, but haven't been to a Pin meeting yet. Obviously, we're not opening the doors quite yet. We're still in the COVID-19 crisis, but when those doors do open, if you are in the Bristol area or any around the surrounding area, and you've not been to a Pin meeting because you feel a little bit daunted by it, or you're not too sure about what's going on, and will you be welcomed, and what people like there, just go down and see Nick. Say hello, go down and see Nick, say hello, and just tell him what you're looking to try and achieve. Because there's no rights and wrongs in any of this, and one of the reasons why we do the meet the host is so people can actually see who actually runs these meetings. We're not anything weird. We're not weird people. We're just normal people who have decided to go down a specific road. And if you want to go down that road, then go down to the Pin meetings and see the host and have a chat with the host. So Nick, just quickly to round this up a little bit, have you got any sort of advice for anybody who, maybe people who haven't come to Pin meetings or haven't actually got into maybe some property education yet, or even really thought about it properly, but do want to get into it? What do you think is like a good piece of advice for those people?
I think if you're thinking about property or you're getting started, I think the first thing is you've got to learn. You've got to expand what you already know. Don't assume you know everything. You can never know everything. I used to think I knew a reasonable amount about property until I started getting educated, and then you realise there's so much. There's a saying, you don't know what you don't know, and that's really, really, really true. I'm still learning. I'm still learning a lot more about. I got into development recently, so I'm still learning loads about development. There's lots to read. There's lots of webinars through Pin. There's so much, through Pin community. Simon does loads of webinars, really, really valuable, and they're changing. You think, oh, it's going to be the same old thing, but it's not. It's always being refreshed and updated and current, and especially at the moment, things are changing so much with regulations, planning changes coming through. You've got to keep up to speed, and you've got to keep educated. So come along to, Pin meetings at the moment, they're all online. They're being done on Zoom. It's a really easy way to attend. It's even easier than showing up and thinking I'm not going to know anyone. This way, God, you don't even have to put your camera on if you really don't want to. It's much better if you do. But if you really don't want to, you can be, and it's a great way to get to know people. You see who else is there. So, like you say, Andy, it's normal people. We've got people from all sorts of backgrounds. You know, we've got builders who are having a go at wanting to see things from the other side of the fence. We've got doctors who are replacing their income. We've got business owners. You know, we've got it's just so many people. You know, shop owners, everything. So get involved with PIN. Open up your mind. Expand your mind to what you think you already know. You don't, but get involved in something that resonates as well. There's lots of different strategies in property. So, you know, talk to people, come talk to me. I've done lots of different strategies. It's gone from housing benefit tenants to HMOs, to professional HMOs, to setting up a lettings agency in Bristol, into development, mixed use. And then most recently, you know, we've just finished 8 flats as a new build. So there's lots of different things you can do. Come and talk to me. Talk to the rest of the team that are there. We're there to help.
Brilliant. We've got some nice comments. We've got people saying that Nick is a fantastic, he's fantastic and a very welcome PIN host, which is very, very nice.
Well, that's very kind of it. I'll pay them later.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that so. Let's just round this off. Yeah, so if you're anywhere in the Bristol area, pop down and see Nick when the doors open. But first, initially, jump onto the networking that we're doing online at the moment. So yeah, just get onto that first, and just get used to the environment a little bit. I think that's the key to a lot of this stuff. Is get used to the environment. You don't have to go in full guns blazing. You know, but if you can get to talk to Nick and just introduce yourself and things like that, and if you want to put a comment in here, I'm sure Nick will get back to you and sort of, you know, welcome you in and tell you exactly what to do. So, Nick, brilliant to speak to you as usual, and maybe next time we'll have a chat. We'll be able to solve all the world's problems, but
we'll finish that off. Yeah. Well, thanks very much for your time, Andy. Thanks ever so much for having me on. Really appreciate it. We've got PIN meeting Bristol next Wednesday, actually.
Okay.
So anyone wants to join us on that, they're more than welcome.
You can get online by going to Property Investors Network PIN meetings. Just search for those. Correct.
Or you can just Google Bristol PIN or Google Property Investors Network. You have all the list of meetings, and of course on Zoom it's easy. You go to any meeting you want. So yeah, even easier than ever.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Nick. Just a quick reminder for everybody. Tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, I've got the Friday morning marketing, and we're going to be talking about something which a lot of people have a big problem with, and that's CRM. So customer relationship management, pipelines, and all that sort of thing. We get a lot of questions about that sort of stuff. You know, how do I know where anybody is and any client is in a process? So we're going to talk about sales pipelines. We're also going to talk about CRM. So we'll see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock. See you later, guys.